Those that scream the most get heard the most. This does not mean what they have to say is correct, righteous, or truthful. It just means that if you scream it out long enough, people will start listening. This is why feminists act the way they do, the homosexuals come out the way they do, how the news media comes out the way they do. It's called propaganda. Whether it's good propaganda or bad propaganda is debatable, but what we are seeing today is mind bogglingly disgusting lies. I can't even say half truths. I'll say 1/10 truths. America likes to believe that they are currently going through a rape epidemic, that you become a rape culture. 2014, the year 2014, more men were raped in the United States than females were. Females were, excuse me. I'm still a little bit tired from my previous video, I guess. My point being, 2014, more men were raped in prisons than females were, due to the increased population of male prisoners. There's no mention about that whatsoever. But we keep talking about rape on college campuses, which doesn't even exist. Even all the females are coming out saying every time we hear about one of these cases, it turns out to be a false event. Do you know what happens to people when they get fed too much emotion? When they get fed too much drama? They start believing that they are allowed to be emotional and allowed to be dramatical. Drama is unacceptable. It's considered a part of the unsocial code. You are deliberately trying to stick a stick in the spokes of society. You are deliberately trying to cause chaos. It is like you are driving on a freeway, deliberately going 10 miles an hour, trying to piss everybody off. As I've said before, the devil always pretends to be the victim. Always. Victims like to scream out a lot that they are justified in their cause, that their cause means something, that people need to take their cause more seriously. Those that scream the most get heard the most. But it doesn't mean what they say is truthful or accurate or righteous. As a matter of fact, it could be insane. But if a lie is spread around long enough and often enough and loud enough, people will start believing the lie. Especially when you have been conditioned to love drama. Drama is very bad in every way. From the person that is using it, they will be punished for using it, they'll be cursed for it, and the person that listens to it and has to go through it will also be cursed. It's a lose-lose situation. Nobody wins when somebody uses drama. As a matter of fact, most domestic abuse comes from drama. A man comes home from work, puts his feet in the door, woman tells him to take his shoes off right away, that he smells. Always something that leads up to the event. It is not like the feminists like to make it out to seem that a man comes home from work, kicks off his fucking shoes, unbuttons his pants button, and demands he gets a beer from his wife. Give me a break. Most domestic abuse happens because the woman doesn't know her place, doesn't know when to shut up, and has no boundaries, which is typical narcissistic behavior. How can we have women today that love Valentine's Day, expect to have a gift, who demand to have diamond rings, but then we can't call them narcissistic, and yet when they have every trait of the narcissist, we're supposed to legally deny them all? Just forget those things exist. Forget the greed that they portray. Forget the selfishness they show. Just forget all about that. That's not important. She's a weak woman. Let's just forget the manipulation she pulls. Let's forget the lies she tells. Let's just forget all of that and call the man the abuser. Let's forget all the promises she made and never kept. Let's just forget all the responsibilities she dropped. Let's just forget all that because she's female. Those that scream the most get heard the most. but does not mean that what they say is righteous, truthful, or accurate. It could be a downright dirty, fat lie. But if a lie is told often enough, loud enough, and just out there constantly for people to hear, people will start believing it. Why do you believe it? There is no evidence to back up these claims. These claims come out of the blue. The truth is, men are running away from college. Men have come to realize that college is a big joke, that you do not learn anything there, but you will be indoctrinated there. And you will actually get your diploma if you become a good indoctored slave on the plantation. Many people today leading their doom going right to college. First, you lose your religion in the first year of college. Then you lose your finances. And then you slowly lose your mind. Then you get yourself your graduation day comes and you feel like you're king of the world. Then you step out into the real fucking world and you realize that's what you've been studying for 4 years. There's no real interest and there's no market for that in real life. But now you got a gigantic student loan that has to be paid off. Boom, they got you. Michael Jackson said it best. All I want to say is they don't really care about us. You are the prey. They are the predators. You have allowed your marriage to be attacked. You've allowed your families to be attacked. You've allowed your income to be attacked. You've allowed your freedom to become under question and under jeopardy. That if you don't comply, you may go to jail and you may fry. You have caved in to everything. All to those that scream the most. And I still don't understand why. Those that are quiet and have a good brain on their head need to start rising up. Is Donald Trump a good presidential candidate? Yes and no. He still might bail out and give the win to Hillary. After that point, if he's still running, I'll give him my vote. Very simple. I don't want another Bush or Hillary Clinton. I don't want the two families, the Clintons or the Bushes, to dominate once more. The homosexuals came out wanting marriage, a divine institution given to humanity before government ever existed. Yes, that is right. Marriage existed before government did. Marriage is a bond between man and woman given by God, not government. If homosexuals want to have a marriage license that legally binds them to each other, that means that they can take half their shit after they leave and split up, fine. But why do you have to do it under the eyes of marriage, under the eyes of the Lord, who considers them to be an abomination? Why can you not just go out to the government and sign a new decree that gives you all the beneficial rights of marriage, but it's not called marriage? That's a direct attack on God, on family life. Aren't you all pissed off that average marriages today are 54% likely to fail? That marriages are being destroyed, that families are being uprooted, and yet the homosexuals are granted full pardon into the marriage life, and they don't suffer the same effects? You have torn down your own families. You have torn down your own life. You have torn down your own marriages and allowed the homosexuals in to retake what you used to have. Congratulations on bending over and taking it up the ass, folks. I read in a paper somewhere, to trick humanity into being a compliant drone, you have to supply them with an endless amount of entertainment. Everybody should watch the movie Stay Tuned. John Ritter, Stay Tuned. Watch that movie. It will change your perspective. Those that scream the most get the most hurt. Feminists don't care if they scream out lies or truths. They never scream out truths. They always scream out lies. And they have been getting away with it for 60 years. When will mankind put a stop to it? It's the same thing with the homosexuals. They've been spewing lies for years. People bought into it. Your government has spewed lies to you for years, and people gave into it. You know that Obama promised you, as one of his campaign promises, that if he became president, he would instantly label all food with GMO labels? Yet he's been president for 7 years and hasn't done anything for it. Nothing to actually encourage the labeling. He's actually stopped the labeling. Have you all not noticed that your President Obama has made promise after promise and made sure to break every promise? 3 years ago, I made you all a video that clearly stated that a fucking narcissist will make sure to break every promise they ever tell you. And they will make sure that even the smallest promise they make you will be broken before the end of their time, before their mask falls off. I'm ashamed of the people voting in a black guy simply because he's a black guy. That's racism. You didn't care about his politics. You didn't care about how trustworthy he was. You didn't care if he was truthful or not. You didn't care what he would do to other countries. You didn't care. You didn't care. You didn't care. So they stepped up. Worst thing a human being could ever do in this world is not care. I don't give a shit how much your life is in the crapper. You still need to care. Care about your family, your friends, your religion, your neighborhood, people around you. Gotta care. Gotta care. And I don't care if you're an 80-year-old man, and I know that sounds funny because I said I have to care. I know if you're an 80-year-old man and you're living and you're broken down life and you're broken down home and you're thinking, oh, what the fuck is life still good for me for? Why should I care? You still got to care. Still got to find reason to care. Because there's plenty of people out there who really could use your help. If you don't believe me, if you're so selfish that you feel like you want to self-destruct, that you want to go and commit suicide, then I suggest that before you go and jump off a bridge, you go and make about 10 sandwiches. And you take these sandwiches downtown to your local shelter, or even better, you go down the Skid Row and you go hand out those sandwiches. And if you still want to commit suicide after that, then you go right ahead. But I guarantee you, you will finally find a purpose in life of helping others. Helping others is a great feeling. And you don't go help them feeling like you're better than them, so therefore you can go and help them. No, you help them because you care. When you give somebody a sandwich and they want to jump up to hug you because nobody cares about them, you will know what love is. You will know what caring is. And you will understand your own personal value and strength, how much you yourself can contribute to this world for the better. Anybody out there who's sick of life, go to your Salvation Armies and buy a bunch of sleeping bags. You can buy like 5 for $100. Take those 5 and go down the Skid Row and hand them out. And watch how the people almost see you as a god for helping them out. How they are so grateful and humble with a simple sleeping bag. So you want to go and take your life. You think your life has no meaning. Yet there are people living on the street every single day with hardships, with teeth they can't afford to get pulled, with broken bones, with ailments, and they don't give up. And they hope that somebody like you will step up and give them a sandwich. Tell them have a good day. Just be kind to them. Human beings are not worthless trash. They have hearts, feelings, spirits, and minds. And they do not deserve to be treated like trash when they are down on their luck. Have you all ever heard the expression kicking a dead horse? What is the point in telling a homeless man to go and get a job? Do you really believe that he wants to be living homeless all day long? That he wants to smell? Think about it. You're kicking a dead horse when you do that. And Christ will condemn you for that. That's one of his condemning at the end of Revelations. When I was hungry, you did not feed me. When I was naked, you did not clothe me. When I was in prison, you did not come and see me. That's all part of Christ's prophecy at the end of times. You're all better than this, folks. You're better than this. Put a stop to this madness and turn back to God. Turn back to the light. It's not too late. Even if Hitler, at the very last breath of his life, decided to turn to Christ, Christ would have forgiven him. God says very clearly, he is not counting sins. So even if you are the world's biggest sinner and you think, I can never be redeemed, I deserve death, I deserve punishment, I deserve to get whatever comes down upon me because I did something really bad, stop it. If God can forgive you, you can forgive yourself. And many times, it's harder to forgive ourselves than for God to forgive us. For all those men out there who have suffered at the hands of females, learn to love yourself. Learn who you were again as a child and become that child again. Have your own hobbies again. Do things that make you happy. Be happy in life. Be happy for yourself. Love yourself. Even though you've been programmed for decades not to love yourself, try doing it and you'll find out you'll have a whole greater life ahead of you. There's nothing wrong with a man loving himself. Just don't take it to the ego. Love yourself enough that you will not be abused. Love yourself that you'll take care of yourself. Don't love yourself so much that you become like a Randy Orton from wrestling who stands there boasting about his body. That's insane. Just love yourself enough that you're humble. And I really mean it for everybody who's suicidal out there. Before you end up taking your own life, make 10 sandwiches and then go downtown and pass them out. And then you will understand the power of one. Because 10 people will be probably crying at you, thanking you for the sandwich. Well, all you did is take a little bit of effort inside of your kitchen to take 20 pieces of bread, smear 10 of them with peanut butter, and smear 10 of them with jelly, and put them together and cut them in half and put them in little baggies. That's all you had to do. And yet you changed the world for all 10 of those people that day. You gave them something to eat. You showed that you cared about them. You gave them love. That is the beauty about love. When you give love, it is instantly returned to you at the same fold that you give it out. Sadly, not when you're in a relationship with females, but in these situations, you will instantly be gratified with the feeling and sensation of, wow, I did something really good. People that want to kill themselves are usually stuck in their own brain and their own routine and their old way of life. You have to step out of the box. The best way to do that, help other people. You all don't even understand anymore the great feeling you get of helping other people. I think the feeling of helping other people is better than the feeling I get from sex. It really is. Because sex is all physical. But after I help a homeless person out with a sandwich, he's so happy that his happiness radiates inside of me, and I walk away smiling, thinking that I did at least my part to help this guy out for the moment. Don't be cruel to them. There's no reason to be cruel to homeless people. You would not want to be a homeless person. Even Jesus Christ says so, you know. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Do that, folks. Do that. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. That's not too hard to ask. That means that respect is not earned. Whoever told you respect is earned is a freaking liar. Respect is to be given instantly, and in return, you get it back. Now, the reason why it's instant respect given is because the person that is in front of you is also a human being. And you have to respect the fact that they are human beings. So, therefore, you already give respect for that. People that believe that respect is earned are seriously toxic individuals. And they usually are the narcs out there, the HPDers and the BPDers out there that make you believe that you have to earn their love, that you have to earn their trust, and you have to earn their respect. It's complete insanity. Well, maybe you should earn trust, over time, but basic trust is out there too. When you shake somebody else's hand, you're not going to believe that they spit in their hand or that they got bacteria on their hand. So you already have some trust going. And that's what I mean. You have to leave all those portals open. You can't close them. I see I have 2 viewers. Is there anybody there that I know? You guys can talk in the chat box and I'll see your comments. It sometimes worries me with humanity when I'm repeating stuff that they already said 6,000 years ago. I've already explained to you that evolution is Satan's tool. But look what evolution does. It makes you believe you don't have to have a conscience. It makes you believe that maybe there is no God. It makes you believe that you don't have to treat other people with caring and kindness because the strongest and fittest will survive. You can be ruthless in business because it's just business. You don't have to be caring and loving to other people because, hey, the strongest will survive. That's evolution. It is a very dangerous religion. One that has more holes in it than Christianity ever will. I think in the Bible there are still things that people are still solving and can't figure out. But there are deep situations compared to evolution. Evolution can be seriously debunked in 20 seconds. All you have to do is look at the stars out there and realize, hey, how many stars have blown up and how many have we ever seen born? We've never seen anyone born. Fuck evolution, man. There is an evolution inside of human beings, but that's just a spiritual awakening. That's what God says in the Bible, that in the end times, knowledge will be increased. That doesn't mean that it's evolution, that you're going to grow a tail or that you're going to grow gills. It just simply means that knowledge will be increased. And God makes it very clear in the Bible that people that were writing the Bible at the time were not supposed to read what they were writing. There's a scenario in the Bible too where God says to the writer of the book, close the book, because it's set for end times. Knowledge will be increased in the end times. That's what we are seeing today. Knowledge is being increased. Look at just people waking up from the Matrix. That's knowledge being increased, and people are actually waking up from the Matrix now. The sad thing is that more people are also becoming more deeper into the Matrix. That also. 2112 Spark just wrote, God gave you a gift at 86,400 seconds today. Have you used anyone to say thank you? That is a really great comment, and I like that comment. And I got to say that today I haven't really said thank you to him, but I've acknowledged him several times due to the burn on my leg that I need pain killing, and that I ask him for help, and he comes and helps heal my leg. But I haven't said thank you today to him for just giving me a great day. But there are some days that I actually say sorry to him, that he has to look upon humanity and see what humanity is doing, and that it tarnishes his own righteousness. If he is so righteous and he sees all this sin, it must tarnish him in some way. When you look at the Bible too, it clearly said in Genesis that he was actually sorry for making mankind. I'm pretty sure mankind has got a lot worse than 6,000 years ago. Uh, that was actually one of my questions today. I had a couple of revelations today, but usually when you have a revelation, you end up with more questions than you do answers. And one of my questions was, well, Adam and Eve and most people in the Bible, they live to be like, 500, 600, 700 years old. And I was thinking to myself, wow, God, humanity only lives about to 80, 90 years old right now. And we're supposed to find you. We're supposed to be born, spend 10 to 20 of our years growing up, becoming the adult we're supposed to be. That only leaves us 60 years to find you, to build a relationship with you. While Adam and Eve and everybody else, they had hundreds of years. And I'm thinking, with that, I'm also thinking that blessed are the people now today compared to then, because then they had a lot of time to find God compared to us now. Plus, back then, they also had God in their life. Adam and Eve had God walking in the garden. Abraham seen God when God told Abraham Sarah was going to get pregnant. Sarah giggled when she heard that she was going to be pregnant because she was really old. And because she giggled, God said, your child will be named Isaac. Isaac means laughter. "2112 Spark wrote, if the only prayer you said in your whole life was thank you, that would suffice. Well, that brings me back to what I just said in the Bible. It clearly states that God does not say he's counting every sin. This is the big delusion people have. They believe that when they stole something when they were 3 years old, that God wrote this down. That when they beat up somebody, God wrote this down. Every time they masturbated, God wrote it down. And that when you go to heaven, there's going to be a list of a million bad things that you did, and you're going to be judged for it. No. God tells us very clear. He is not counting our sins. He's not. He knows we sin because we were born in sin. The original sin counts for man as well as female. How could he count us as sinners when we were born into it? He doesn't care that you're a sinner. He just wants you to come out of being a sinner. He wants you to stop sinning. Turn to him. He's not saying, oh, because you sinned when you were 12, I hate you forever. That's complete craziness. And I wish more people would understand that. Like I said, even if Hitler was to turn on the last second of his life and say, God, I repent, he'd be forgiven. It doesn't mean that he's going to, but here's another thing. People have said to me, well, if your God forgives at the very end of your life, that means I can be as evil as I want to be, and then be forgiven right at the end. And yes, you could do that. But you'll have a problem when you try to enter heaven. Because when you try to enter heaven, you'll find out that you have yourself a room, you get yourself a meal, but you're not going to have much else. It is those that store up presents in heaven that will have them when they return there. Or as Jesus says, do not store up earthly goods that a thief can come and take them, or rust can come and overtake them, but store up goods in heaven where the thief can never come and rust can never tarnish them. It really blows my mind how people don't understand anything from Christ. I was born with Christ. I was born, put into church right away. I was baptized right away, and I was always a churchgoer. I was always that boy that went to church. I was always a church boy. I don't know any better. But when I look at people in the world today, it's like, didn't you read the Bible? How can you possibly go down that road? It says right here in the Bible, you're going to be destroyed for that. Why would you do that? Oh, you want to love mammon, do you? Well, I'm sorry, you're going to hell. And then they say to me, oh, there is no God. I'm not going to go to hell, man. As a Christian, we have it so hard because we know who's going to go to hell and who's going to go to heaven, and we have to let go of everybody that's going to hell. We have to cut it off and say, okay, there's no saving this person. And then at the same time, you also know as a Christian that God made the promise to Abraham Blessed are those that are blessed. Blessed are those that bless you, and cursed are those that curse you. So if you're trying to save somebody and they don't want to be saved, they're basically cursing you, and then you know when they walk away, they're going to get even more smacked down. It's too bad my friend is not here right now, Paranormal Migto. We've been having some really great conversations lately, very deep Christian conversations. Things that people should know. I wonder how many people actually look at the world today from a nationalistic point of view. Everybody's too busy with their social media, their Tower of Babel situation where the whole world is at their feet. Everybody's letting go of the borders, they're letting go of culture, they're letting go of their own inheritance. Yet God makes it very clear that He is nationalistic. Why do you think your money actually said, "In God we trust"? You don't think that actually says it on the Islamic money, do you? Like in Iraq or Syria? That was just the States. God looks at the earth like the board game Risk. If anybody knows the board game Risk, then you know how it plays, that you put military on the borders and you try to collect all the countries, that you try to dominate them all. Well, God's version of the board game Risk has a second player, and that's Lucifer. And they are moving tanks around, they are moving militaries around, they're doing things on this planet, on that board game, upstairs. That spiritual board game. And we are just pieces on their game. If you see today Israel attacking Palestine, you'll say, "Oh, those Jews are bad." You don't even think for a tiny millisecond that it was God that moved the Jews against the Palestinians, that it was God that did it. You all think that the people individually did it. You have scientists coming from all around the world to build a mega structure called CERN. And they're all going for it. They're all with the same mindset. How is this possible unless one ruler controls them all? Are you going to tell me that somebody in America came up with an idea, that somebody in Sweden heard it and picked up on it, that somebody in France and China and Russia picked up on it, and they all got together to make this giant building, which they don't even know why they're building it or what it could possibly do? Or could it possibly be that the devil came in, influenced them all to get together to build this machine for the devil? Hollywood is built by the devil for the devil. It's his playground. And he keeps putting out mass messages out there, mass propaganda out there to screw your heads up. And he's being quite successful. But when you have God in your life, the Holy Spirit, and Jesus, any lie that is told to you, you will instantly see as a lie. The devil has no power over you once you belong to God, once you belong to Jesus. So you really sit here as a person who's already captured by Jesus, surrounded by Jesus, hugged by Jesus, and you see everybody else going to hell. And you want to save them and say, "Look, my Lord will save you." And they don't give a shit. They're too busy in their own little make-believe worlds, their own little universe, doing their own little thing, only caring about the here and now, the instant gratification, the impulsive behavior, the one-night stands. I mean, the whole world has come down to now, the most powerful thing you can achieve is having sex. Really? Oh, man, I'm going to go out tonight. I'm going to go to the bar. I'm going to find me a woman. I'm going to have some sex with her. Woohoo. I'm a stud. I'm a stallion. Really? Really? Since I've turned to Jesus and he accepted me into his world and into his life, my urge for women has completely vanished. I have no urge to see butts. I have no urge to see tits. I have no urge to see a blowjob or get a blowjob. Nothing, none of it. They are beneath me. Way beneath me. Way, way, way. That's all earthbound stuff. When you become a true ascended Christian, a true born-again Christian, earthly things bore you. You don't want to take part in earthly events. Those that love the earth do not have the love of the Father within them. Earth is a testing ground, folks. You're being tested. How could you selfishly decide just because you're alive right now that you're going to get all the gratifications that you think you deserve just so you could die and then go burn in hell, while people like me sacrifice my free time, my love and caring to everybody who needs it? And I'm not trying to get money in this life or a big house because I know all that stuff is already taken care of for me. It's in my next life waiting for me. I have patience to wait for my next life. I don't need it now. I would rather have it for all of eternity than for a maximum of 100 years. And there's another thing I want to talk about. Today, they glorify elderly people who make it to 100 years old, 105, 110, 115 years old. They make the newspaper, they make local television, they're the talk of the town. Yet people at the same time always say the good die first. You know that this is actually biblical? The Bible talks about it several times. Jesus Christ was only 33 years old when he died. The good always die first. The Masons that built the temple of Solomon's temple, well, they died pretty young too. The reason somebody reaches the age of 115 years old is not because they took really great care of themselves. It's not because they isolated them inside with an air purifier and only ate special food. No. It's because they don't have the love of Christ in them, and God is giving them time to get the love of Christ in them. The whole reason today that Armageddon has not taken place, that Jesus is not back yet, that we as Christians suffer today, is that Jesus is buying time. Right now, Jesus is buying time. He has a decision to make. He knows if the world keeps getting more evil, that the people that he has collected will start turning away from him. But at the same time, he needs more time so he can collect more people to his cause. So he's stuck right there in between, in limbo, from when he's going to finally give up trying to save people, and how many people he's losing a day due to the evil in the world. It has to be people's ignorance and people's stubbornness that they don't want to turn to Christ, because all evidence is out there. It's right in front of your faces. And if you cannot see God's work, then you sure can see the devil's work. And the devil is not real without God. One does not come without the other. Well, I don't think anybody would like to join my conversation right now, but if they would, you could join. Or otherwise, I'm going to hang up the call and keep it at this length, for I don't really have much more to say. And I think that this was an important message, and I have sufficed in bringing my message across to you all. Actually, I think I'll just cancel the call from here now and let it be. And anybody that wants commentary can reach me in my next live broadcast. So this is Word on Fire saying, take care, prepare, and be aware. Bye for now.